think it's really fun to be creative with some of the less used fruits like the nectarine. And in this case, I'm making nectarine pie filling. Actually, super good. I've done apricot pie filling, and that was delicious. And of course, the peach pie filling, which is kind of a classic I love. Well, they're all kind of in that same family. And so you have to try this nectarine one. So good. I begin by blanching about 20 nectarines. Now, these are kind of bigger ones, and what I'm going to need is 24 cups worth of sliced nectarines. The blanching is optional, but I prefer it because my family is a little bit picky when it comes to the skins being in the filling. After I'm done blanching, I put my nectarines in a saltwater solution, which is 1 gallon of water and 1/4 of a cup of salt. And this keeps it from browning. There's other things you can do, like lemon juice or citric or ascorbic acid, but this one has worked really well for me. So then I just cut the nectarines in half and I'll pit them. And sometimes there'll be just a little bit left over at the edges, and that's really easy to pull out with a knife. And then I'll cut them into 1/2 inch slices. I really recommend getting the freestone nectarines because the ones that are the clingstone, they will stick really badly and it makes it harder to get a clean break from the pit. As I get done with my slices, I place them back in my water so that they don't go brown. Now I'll take 6 cups of sugar and place it in a large pot. And I'll add 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of modified cornstarch. It's called clear gel. I can't use regular cornstarch for this because it expands too much, so it's not good to use during canning. Plus 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'll mix those dry ingredients together well. If I don't mix them well, then I'll end up getting lots of clumps in my syrup, and then I have to try to stir it out on the stove. And I mean, it'll work, but it's a little bit difficult. So now I'll add 4.5 cups of cold water, and I'll mix that together well. If you do have clumps, the best thing you can do is kind of pound them against the side of the pan with your spoon. So now I'll place this on the stove and cook it until it's thick, and I'll continue to work at getting those little chunks broken up. Now that it's thick and starting to bubble, I'll add 1.5 cups of lemon juice. I'll stir that in, which dilutes it and cools it down. And then I'll jump over to my nectarines. The nectarines need to be blanched for just 1 minute in boiling water. And so I get them transferred as quickly as I can. And I take a break here and there so that I can go back and stir my syrup. I don't want to end up having that burn while I'm busy with this. It takes a second to get them all transferred over. I try to go as fast as I can because, of course, the ones that I put in there first are going to be in there for longer. And now I'll set my timer for 1 minute. I'll continue to stir my syrup throughout that 1 minute because it is getting thick again and I don't want it to burn. Now that the minute is done, I'll add my nectarines into my syrup. And again, I try to go quickly. After putting some in, I usually stir it a little bit. I give it just a little bit of time to drain before dropping it in with my syrup because I don't want to dilute it with the blanching water. But I don't want to take too long either. I usually stir it about 2 times while I'm filling it up just to make sure that it doesn't burn. Now that I have them all in, I'll set my timer for 3 minutes and stir gently the whole time. I don't want to stir too roughly because I don't want to break up those nectarines. Now I'll place in 1 cup of lightly chopped pecans. I like to keep them kind of on the larger side because, well, I want to taste them when I hit them. This is an optional step if you don't like nuts. Happens to be something I enjoy quite a bit. Now I'll fill my quart-sized jars up to 1 1/4 inch of headspace, which is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. It requires that much headspace because it expands quite a bit. I use a wooden chopstick to debubble my jars. This is just so that if there's any trapped air bubbles that they'll be released. I use a clean damp cloth to wipe off the rim of my jars so that if anything got on the edge that it won't interfere with the seal. Then I'll place my lids and rings on until they're fingertip tight. I'm using my new favorite lids today. They're superb lids and they're American made. And they just have this really thick steel core with 5 coatings of corrosion resistant something on it. I don't know what it is, but I know that it keeps it from rusting, which is important to me because it goes in my root cellar and it's a little bit more humid down there. I have a link as well as a 20% off discount code in my description below. I'll place these in my boiling water bath submerged by 1 to 2 inches of water, and I'll process them for 30 minutes if I'm at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll process them for 35. Now that the timer is done, I remove the lid, turn off the heat, and let it cool for 5 minutes. I place the jars on a heat-resistant surface about 1 to 2 inches apart so that they can cool down quickly. I'll leave them there for 24 hours so that they can get a good seal. I can tell that they have a good seal if the center of the lid has depressed down. If it has, then I remove the ring and wash them with hot soapy water and place them in a cool, dry, dark location like my pantry and use them in the next 1 to 3 years. If any of them didn't seal, I would place it in the refrigerator and use it right away. So my taste tester, got to get just a little bit of that nut in there because that's my favorite. So let's give this a try. It's so good. You get that nectarine flavor, the sourness from the lemon, the nut, which is, of course, fabulous. I love pecans. And then it's just that super smooth sauce behind it. This is something that's really good as a crisp, a cobbler, even putting on oatmeal, or, of course, in a pie.